Hello, here we go on video number 2. Today I want to introduce you to the book that got us started on all of this, and then to talk about grains. Why grains? Why do we need to cut out grains to cut out pain? And thirdly, what alternatives do you suggest instead of grains? So those are the 3 things I want to talk about today. So first of all, here we go with the book No Grain, No Pain by Dr. Peter Osborne. And it's a grand little resource to keep by us, very clearly set out, and we're sticking to it. Now, why grains? This would be an opportunity for frequently asked questions. One I am frequently asked is, what are grains? It's something that a lot of people don't think about if they haven't been concerned with their health or interested in what they eat in terms of their health. Then they might well not be totally sure what grains are. So let's talk for a moment about what grains actually are. There are the gluten grains, which are probably the most common grains. So we have wheat, oats, barley and rye. So that makes up a huge amount of what we eat every day in terms of porridge, sandwich for lunch, etc. Then we have also as well rice, corn, millet. Then included in this project is this, we include pseudograins, and the pseudograins are buckwheat and quinoa. Now, why are they called pseudograins? Well, because they, in research, it has been shown that those two can act in the same way as ordinary grains to a gut where there's inflammation and fragility. So best to stay clear of them. Now, a word more about gluten before we leave that. Gluten is a great food if you can digest it, in that it's great for baking. So it's the glue in it, the elasticity in it. It makes it wonderful for raising, as a raising agent. It works well with yeast and baking powder and so on. And the more protein that is in it, the stronger the flour. So if you want strong flour for bread, then you want more protein in it. You want it lighter for cakes and so on. So that's why flour is measured differently, and the amount of protein is possibly on the bag of flour. It makes it very easy to work with. Not only that, but it's quite an addictive food, gluten. People really miss it if they don't have it. It takes a wee while for many people to happily say goodbye to it, but a few days and you really don't miss that slice of toast. Right. The other grains are also hard to digest. Grains in general are hard to digest. And it's much, if we want to start to help our gut and the conditions that we want to improve, that's the place to start, to leave out grains altogether. Now, what are the alternatives that we can use, and how can we make breads and things? Well, I have found that I haven't yet got round to making an actual loaf, but because I'm only cooking for 2, then it's easy to make muffins, scone type things, little patties and cakes and things. And it's easy to do that, it really is, and you can make enough to do 2 or 3 days. So this is almond flour. Now I get that in the Asia supermarket. what is the difference between almond flour and ground almond, you might ask? Because it's half the price or even less than half the price. Now, my understanding is that almond flour is what's left when oil is extracted from almonds. So it actually isn't a whole food in that way. However, what is left is very usable, very nutritious. So I don't mind, because if I could only use ground almonds, then it would be really difficult to justify using it as a flour. However, any nut, any seed can be ground down and used as a flour. For a flour is just something that's milled down fine enough to mix with other things. It's nothing special. Another one is gram flour. Now, I can get that nowadays in the supermarket or in the Asia supermarket. It is made from ground down chickpeas, and that is probably the cheapest one of all. And it's a grand flour. Grand flour. Gram is grand. Also, coconut flour. It's a bit reminiscent for me of rice flour, and that is slightly pickly, but so I wouldn't like to use it as the only flour I'm using, but a mix of this and almond flour is great. Arrowroot is one that's commonly used. And finally, it's another one I got in the Asia supermarket. I don't know how that's pronounced. Ragai. It's made from lentils. So in the Asia supermarket, you find all sorts of things that you don't understand what it is. But if you ask, there's almost always somebody will be able to tell you, oh, that's made from lentils. This hasn't got an attractive colour. I wonder, can I show you without spilling it? Oh, it's actually a sort of grey mushroomy colour, but it's quite acceptable as a flour. Again, I wouldn't use it on its own, but if you're making something like flatbread or some kind of bread-ish substitute, then I think it's very usable and very reasonably priced. And it's also nutritional. Anything made from lentils is grand. So those are some ideas for you. Now, I was going to say tomorrow, but I might give myself a rest. Oh, I have one other thing that I brought from the fridge, and that is just a bit of leftover sweet potato. Mashed sweet potato left over from dinner last night. Now, if you have a bit of leftover sweet potato, or even do it specially, and then add in some gram flour, add in a fried onion, some garlic, perhaps a bit of chilli. Do you know you can shape that into little patties? Just put it out on your board and have it done with some gram flour on the board, and do your patties out, press them down, and then fry them in a bit of coconut oil. And you know, you have very tasty little biscuity things that I would serve for us with a bowl of soup at lunchtime. So that's an idea. So lots more tips like that to come. And what have I written down here for my next video? Well, just how we're progressing. What are, now that we're a few days in, how are my husband and I coping with this? How are we dealing with it? Have we any problems? What are the good things? So, more next time. Bye.